Come up. Welcome to the live episode of the Financial Pro podcast. Today we have got an interview with one of my coaching clients and our downright machine, as I like to call her, Katy Eatenten. How you doing, Katy?
I'm good, thank you. Morning.
Morning. It's finally we get you on. We've been trying to do it, haven't we? But your diary's absolutely manic with most senses.
Yeah, it is at the moment. Trying to juggle work, babies, COVID, mortgage companies.
And I think that's one of the reasons why I really wanted to get you on. Apart, we first met almost 2 years ago now in November 2018, and you were just about to have your twins.
No, I just had them.
Had you just had them?
Yeah.
Okay,
September.
So you just had your twins, and
Yes.
Having stayed in contact and observed you over that period of time, it's like you've been a mum to twins, you've built your business, you've grown your business, you've generated more leads, you've created more sales, and you've really built and started to build an even more solid business. And I think it's just going to be inspiring for everybody else who's on here, because I know how hard you work and you never really make any excuses. And when you do, I just give you a little kick up the bum. But give people a little bit of context just so they know who you are and kind of when did you join the industry, how did you start out, and bring us up to the current day in terms of what you do.
Okay, so I joined the industry. I just had my daughter, who is 16 now, nearly 17. Prior to that, I was working for a property developer who also had a mortgage arm. So what he would do was source deals, refurbish them, and then sell them on to his clients. So he kind of had an end-to-end business. I used to liaise with the estate agents, find the deals for him, and deal with that side of things. Deal with the development of the sites, builders, and then he had an in-house IFA that used to deal with the mortgages. I then started doing a bit of mortgage progression as well, because it interested me. Was pregnant at the time, left to have my daughter, was off for 3 months, went back to work, and he sacked me because he had employed 3 people to do what I was doing and didn't want to get rid of them. So he sacked me, but he'd also paid for me to do my CMAT exams. So I thought, okay, well, I'll do it then. So whilst I had a little baby, I studied, passed my exams, and went to work with a family friend who took me under his wing. He was directly authorised, worked under him for a bit, joined another brokerage, left them when the credit crunch happened in 2006. He decided he didn't want to be a broker anymore, shut down and opened an estate agent's. I then joined Quilter on my own as an AR, and worked with him for a bit, and then kind of went my own way, went on a Quilter jolly up to La Manga, met with other people that were doing really well within Quilter, and joined them because didn't actually like being on my own. Found it quite lonely, obviously quite new to the industry, didn't really know what I was doing, or didn't know I needed someone to talk to and bounce ideas off. So I joined forces with a lady called Beverly, and she took me under her wing, Beverly Lodger, and we then there was 6 of us, I think, that joined Lifetime in, I can't remember when, 10 years ago maybe, and I've been there ever since. So I am under the Lifetime umbrella, and we are an AR of Quilter. So that's my whistle stop to where I am now.
And you've been with them, you said Lifetime, for about 10 years.
I think it is 10 and 11. I don't know. I lose track of time. We're nearly at the end of 2020 and I still feel like I'm in 2016. So, and yeah, in that time I've had baby twins who were 2 last week.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's, so I've known you for as long as you've kind of had your twins. And I know that for many ladies out there, it's one of those things that, I noticed it with my wife, and I've seen the change in her when it was babies, and then Emily came along and Willow came along, and your priorities massively change. How did you manage when you had the twins September a couple of years ago to still keep the business going? Because it was just you back then, wasn't it?
It was me, my mum, who is my PA, and I actually brought on another broker to cover my maternity, and didn't actually end up taking much maternity. I went back to work after 2 weeks having the twins. Luckily, their dad's very supportive, and he's been at home looking after them. But I've worked ever since. So I only do 3 days a week. That's my official days that I work. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Friday is absolutely, I don't work. I spend the day with the kids. And Thursdays I kind of dip in and out of. But I've really tried. With my daughter, I felt like I went back to work too soon. I don't feel like I appreciated her when she was Diddy. She went to nursery at 3 months. I was working during the week. I was working weekends in casinos. And I feel like I missed out on her very young years. So I was adamant I wasn't going to do that with the twins. So that's why I work as hard as I do the 3 days that are my official days at work. Although none of my clients would know that I don't work every day of the week.
And I think that's one of the things that resonates and why we get on really well is because that was my pain that I felt when Emily was born. I was back 3 days after she was born, and back into it, back to doing 9 till 7 in the office, and didn't really see much of her and you don't get that time back, and it's just so important. No. So second time around, the key thing that you just said then was the fact that your clients don't really know that you are not working. So how do you manage to, from your perspective, but also for other advisors and brokers and IFAs and mums who have got children or having children or about to have, thinking about having children, how do you make it so that you're technically working 3 days, but they still feel like they're getting love and you're there for them 5 days?
7. It's hard. I think I've kind of created a bit of a monster myself, really, because my biggest thing is customer service. I think especially now, people buy people, the internet makes people think that they can do it themselves, that it's really easy. So I've always invested a lot of time into building the relationship with the client rather than the actual transaction. Which has I've created a monster, because now they all want to talk to me all the time about anything, not necessarily mortgages, and that's probably been my hardest thing to manage. But I always pick up the phone, and I'll say I'll call you back, or I'll block out my diary. There'll be an out of office that I'm in a meeting, or I don't think clients need to know that you're not at work. And obviously, since working with you since the beginning of the year, I've been a lot more mindful that I need to pass on a lot of stuff to other people to do, and I can't do everything. And the bit that I like is talking to the clients. So that's the bit I still do, and everything else I now pass to someone else. So my time is more spent sitting on the phone, catching up, listening to people's. One of my clients had a baby yesterday. And they told me straight away that they had a baby, and I like that. I like the fact that they don't just think of me as their broker, and that's the way they talk to me, to the people that they refer to. She's brilliant, she'll always answer the phone. So I kind of have to still do that, and I like doing it. For the most part, I like doing it. Sometimes it's not ideal, but it is what it is. I've built my business on being like that, and I don't really want to change it just in case people, the clients don't like that. They like the personal touch. Yeah,
you've definitely been one that's a giver, in the sense of you're always accessible to your clients, and you always want to be accessible to your clients, don't you, at the end of the day?
Yeah, and I think also, a lot of my clients have families, and they're women that are like even grandmothers, or they get it. If I say I'm with the kids, can I call you back? It's fine, as long as I'm still doing what they want me to do, which is ultimately get them a mortgage, which is still happening in the background anyway. My customer service is such a big thing for me. Feedback, I thrive off getting great feedback. We send out feedback questionnaires, lifetime do a newsletter every month. And, if my name's not in the feedback list, I want to know what's wrong. Actually, my sales director called me one month and said, just doing the feedback and your name hasn't appeared this month. No. There must be something wrong. Hang on a second. Because, if people are happy with you and happy with the service you provide, they're going to tell people about you. And then you kind of have to match the expectations that people have. If someone has a good experience with you and they tell their friends how good the experience is, you need to match that.
Definitely. So going back a wee bit then to 2019, because you mentioned there, we didn't start working together one-to-one until kind of the beginning of 2020. And you obviously went through 2019 feeling some pain. And I think you were kind of in the same position at the end of 2019 as when we first met at the end of 2018. Because let's be honest, you're a lead machine in the sense of you've been doing it 16 years. Your service is so good. You network the hell out of everybody you meet, and you get so many referrals and recommendations. What was kind of some of the troubles that you were having last year, going from now obviously only working 3 days a week because you had the twins, getting an abundance of leads? What were some of the pains that you felt last year?
I think it's even spilled into this year. There's only so much you can do on your own. And I felt like I was dropping the ball, that people are referring people to me and they weren't getting the service that I want to give. They weren't getting the service as the person that's referring me. And I hate it when clients, I know you're really busy. I don't ever want anyone to think I'm too busy to talk to them. Although I am, I don't want them to feel like that, like they're bothering me, like, Kate's really busy, let's go and find someone else. Or I don't, it's the one word that I hate, or sentence. I know you're really busy, but, or are you too busy to deal with it? No, I just need to get more support. And that's kind of where I was, that I was just juggling everything, dropping the ball with calling people back. My, compliance side of things, I probably wasn't as on top of things as I should have been. So, I had lifetime here, clients there, and it was just, I kind of just didn't know what to do with everything I had, really. And I think you started the mastermind, or a course came up that you were doing, and I just thought I just need a bit of extra guidance. Actually, one of the top earners at Lifetime, one of the other brokers that does really well, I reached out to him a couple of years ago to mentor me, and then he's got to the point where he's too busy, but still talk to him. And I said, could you write the business that you write on your own? And he said, absolutely not. He's got, his dad was doing his admin, then he got another broker, then he got more admin. And I think there's only so much that anyone can do in 24 hours. And believe me, I've tried to work 24 hours to see how much I can get done. And, I just needed someone to kind of pick me up and say, right, this is what you need to do. You need to get this person for that and this person, and help me do it, really. And that's what I've tried to implement this year.
Yeah, it was December that we launched kind of the mastermind stuff, and we did a couple of months of that, or I think it was a month of it, wasn't it? And you just said, look, can we do it on a one-to-one? Because I'm just too busy to take a whole day out. Can we do something a bit more closely together? Yeah. Sort of coming forward to now then, in terms of, I know one of the big scary things, and you've had this yourself in terms of, that whole I'm a big fan of let go to grow in that sense. If things are starting to break, then it means you're doing too much. What are some of the things that you've now got in place that enable you to write more business, to be more efficient, to not feel as stressed, to not drop the ball, to keep the plate spinning?
I definitely think letting go to grow is quite a good way of explaining it. I was following or had a connection with a lovely lady on LinkedIn, not LinkedIn, Instagram, who was a broker, and she reached out. We had a coffee one day, and I wasn't looking to, take on another broker, or I didn't really know what I wanted to do, really. I knew I needed help. Ended up having a coffee with her, and she wasn't happy where she was. I knew I needed somebody to help me, and she's brilliant. Basically just said to her that day, come on board with me, we'll get you trained, we'll get you CAS status, and she's an absolute godsend. So I think passing stuff to her, not worrying about the service that person's going to get or the advice that they're going to get, I think just building people that do the same as you but not necessarily exactly the same is key, and not worrying about, I'm only going to make X from that where I could have made 100%. It all adds up at the end of the day, and making something of 100% is better than making nothing, because you don't end up doing the business. They go elsewhere, they have a bad experience with you, they then go back to the person that referred you and said, well, I spoke to Kate and she was rubbish, she didn't even call me back. That person's then not going to refer. So I just thought, let me concentrate on what I'm good at, give stuff that not necessarily that I'm not good at, but that is doable for her, coming new in the industry. Actually, she's ended up taking all my really complicated cases, but the plan was to give her, the more vanilla stuff that she could learn and grow, and then I'd deal with historical relationships that they want to deal with me, and it ended up working, and now I've taken on another admin, and with the new admin was going to come on to then replace my mum, because my mum wants to retire, and now I've ended up keeping both of them. So I think it's just filling the space of all the stuff that I don't really want to be doing, that takes the time, like admin, like filling out a fact find, and doing what I love doing, which is talking to the clients, finding solutions and making them love me, because I've given them what they want.
That's the end goal of all of us, isn't it, really, at the end of the day, as a mortgage broker or financial services
I just think that feeling that you get, and I had this conversation yesterday with Simon, the feeling that you get when you've got a really difficult case and the client has literally exhausted every avenue, you've exhausted every avenue, and you get that offer. That it was on Monday, and I was literally bouncing off the walls in the office, because even though you kind of know that it's going to happen, because otherwise you wouldn't have even attempted it, because of the way the mortgage market is at the moment, nothing's 100%. So when they actually got the offer, I was like, yes! And then the client emailed me and said, I love you. That just made my day. And that's what I build my business on. I want everyone to have that experience, that they walk away and they're like, Katy was amazing, I love her, look at my house. And when they walk in their house, they, grateful to you for doing it, and it just makes it worth it, I think.
Yeah. So this year now, then, going from, you had that advisor back in sort of 2018, but she didn't last very long. So it's been you and your mum, hasn't it, for a period of time?
Up until Kelly joined me at the beginning of this year. I'm not sure of exact dates. I think she got signed off as competent just before COVID.
Yes, yeah,
I think she did. Yeah. So then that was obviously horrible for her, because she's just can get out there and do what she wants to do, and then we're in lockdown. But she's smashing it. She's absolutely brilliant. Now needs to take on someone else because she's at capacity. or working towards capacity. And yeah, so I'm just building the team. I'm just concentrating on building the team at the moment.
Yeah. So it's Kelly, new admin, started last week.
Last week Tuesday, yeah.
Last week, Mum.
Yeah, Emma.
You've got a paraplanner as well, haven't you now?
Got a paraplanner who deals with his remote paraplanner. He does all my submissions.
Yeah.
And then there's a full-time admin at Lifetime who looks after a group of advisors. So she'll chase from application to offer and then from offer to completion. Who else? Yeah, so I've got my mum, Emma, Kelly, Greg, who's the paraplanner, and Emma's in head office. And I've got another admin joining me. He's just going through the process at the moment with Lifetime, doing his data protection and stuff, who will concentrate more on insurance admin.
Yeah, on the protection side of things.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's an area we identify that needs to be picked up a little bit because of how busy you are on the mortgage side. And I think you agree.
I love mortgages. I don't love protection.
Yeah, and that's one of the key things for anybody listening is that fact of do the bits that you love. I talk about it as being superpowers. And if you're not massively passionate about protection, you're not going to really sell it very well and you're not going to do the client the best job. And equally, the more business you begin to write and the more complex cases that you work on, and you do a lot of equity release as well as normal mortgages, shall we say, and complex mortgages and quite a few high net worth mortgages as well, you know, understanding just those three categories alone and then trying to put the protection knowledge for 18 insurers and all the bells and whistles, it's impossible, isn't it?
Yeah. And I think if you focus on what you love, then you love what you do. And I think I've never loved protection. I've never really, I don't know why, because protection makes so much more money than mortgages. But clearly, you see, I'm not in it for the money. You know, I know what my strengths are and I know what my weaknesses are, and protection's not one of my strengths. I mean, I do obviously do it, but I would rather have somebody else to do that.
And it comes back to that thing, which is what I really want to drum into anybody listening to this. You said it perfectly earlier. It's exactly that thing. And when I spoke to Lisa and I spoke to Martin as well, it's the same mindset. You know, other people on Rob Jupp in Bright Star have exactly the same mindset. It's better to be focused on the things that you love doing and give something that you don't know a lot about to somebody else and take a percentage, because in the time that it takes you to do the thing that you don't know, you could have done 3 or 4 of the things that you do know, and you'll be richer as a result of it.
Well, I also don't think that there's anything wrong with it's the way that you package things for the client. All the client wants to know is, am I getting my mortgage? Am I protected? If I die, what will happen? And they don't need to kind of be bogged down with the kind of back side of it. They want what they want and how you're going to get there. And I think as long as the way that you introduce it, that I'm a mortgage specialist, I specialize in this, and this I do what I'm good at. I'm going to introduce you to X, who is an insurance guru, and that's what they love doing. So they're going to look after you. And, you know, any problems, you still come and talk to me. It's still me. That's all they really care about. They're not going to say, oh, well, you know, she did my mortgage and she got me the house I want, but she couldn't even do my life cover. They're not. Well, I haven't yet met a client that has said that. So I'll probably meet one tomorrow or something. But
and it's one of those contentious subjects that always comes up. But I know that it's one that we should probably discuss from the point of view of broker fees and charging broker fees. What's kind of your perception? Because you get a hell of a lot of referral business, and I have seen comments in the groups and online and on social media around, yeah, but if I charged a fee, I wouldn't get referrals. What's kind of your whole thing around the broker fee mentality? Why do you charge? Do you think others should charge? Do you think it affects the number of referrals that you get?
No. I don't have a hard and fast rule with fees. I know what I want to charge every case. Sometimes at the end of it, I'm like, they got a really good deal there with what I charged, the amount of work I had to do. I think in the current climate, there shouldn't be, or you should do this or you should do that. No case at the moment is easy. No case is vanilla. You've got a second time buyer, a home mover with nationwide, with pay slips, with a good deposit, and you're still looking at a month before it's looked at. So as far as the client's concerned, you're still working really hard for that month to get them what they want. So why shouldn't you charge a fee? Our job is probably the most stressful now that it's ever been. And I think to get paid for what we do now is so important, because so many cases potentially wouldn't go anywhere. So if you're getting paid just from their lender and it doesn't complete, you've done all that work for months that you haven't made any money. I think if you are going to charge a fee, it has to be paid on offer, because again, I've had offers that the clients have just then decided, actually, I don't want to buy that property anymore, and off they go. Have I had people that won't use me because I charge a fee? Yes, but it is what it is. I have not charged fees if it's if it's over £1 million or over a certain amount, and I know what I'm going to get at the back end, then that's down to me. I think it was you or someone posted on LinkedIn, someone that said, if someone asks for a discount on your fees, you turn around and say, I understand why you've done that, and I respect you for asking that. However, I'm not going to discount my fee, or I don't discount fees, because if I could do it for cheaper, then why wouldn't I do it for cheaper? And it's just stayed in the back of my mind. I think we're so important now, brokers, in the whole mortgage process, that we need to be paid for that. And sometimes it's hard. Sometimes it's hard to have that conversation if it's an old family friend, or someone that you've never charged a fee for before, to then turn around and say, now I charge a fee. It's an uncomfortable conversation. But if you've got that mindset that, well, that's what I'm worth, that's what I'm going to charge, and if they walk away, then so be it. Then they walk away, they're lost. They'll come back normally, and then I charge them double. No,
I've had that as well, where they won't pay the fee up front, and then they go and speak to someone else, and then they come back and they're actually willing to pay it thereafter. But in that instance, they've only weighed their own time. And just a kind of caveat for anyone out there, fees is always one that causes a massive debate. I think it's good to speak to other brokers and people in the industry, but your business is your business model, and that's the point that you have to work out. You need to work out the money that you want to earn, and then charge the fees based on the size of the mortgages you're doing and the business model that you want to build and grow and achieve. But I do believe personally, every broker should charge something.
Some people are happy making a certain amount every month.
Yeah.
I want to make X a month, and to get to X, I need to do that many mortgages, charge that many fees. And if I've hit that early on in the month, and there's a case for someone that, it's potentially an easy case, and I don't want to charge a fee, then I'm not going to. But that's down to me, rather than down to, I'm going to lose that client if I charge a fee or don't charge a fee, or estate agents refer me. I think a lot, well, if not all of the high street, the big names in the high street, Barnum Marcus, Hart, their in-house brokers charge an upfront fee. Their whole fee is upfront. And anyone that's looking for a property that's had that experience know that they charge a fee. So they expect to pay it. I do a lot of offer qualifications for estate agents. And you get it all the time. I've spoken to L&C, they don't charge a fee. Why are you going to charge a fee? And then, you know, I sell my service, you know, I provide a service. It's my favorite line is, you're stuck with me for life. You know, it's not a one transaction. I will send you a birthday card every year. I'll send you a Christmas card every year. I'm going to come to your family christenings. I'm going to come, you know, I look at it as building a relationship. It's not, I'm going to do your mortgage and then I'm going to move on to the next person. I've still got the same clients that I had when I first started. I now look after their kids, kids, their brothers, sisters. You know, it's building that relationship that I think comes down more to how much money can I make off this person. So do I think everyone should charge a fee? If they want to. I think it's whatever, like you said, it's their business model. My business model needs me to charge fees up to a certain amount. My time needs me to charge fees. And also someone that you know is going to be really, really hard work that you don't really want to do, you might charge them a bit more, that it makes it worth doing it if they agree. You know, I won't ever absolutely take the mickey with anyone, but I will charge accordingly for the amount of work that needs to be done.
Yeah, I agree, and it's you know, it's in the terms of business, and it's in IDDs and everything else. If you're dealing with a trickier case that's going to take ages, and we've had cases in, you know, I remember doing an employed person, and it was on everything on the face value of it looked amazing, and then when it actually went in, they had the wrong tax code. It didn't all match up. It was a nightmare. We had to speak to HMRC. We had to do all this, that, and the other. There was loads of other little bits and bobs. There was money in the bank accounts that were just a nightmare. And it was one of those cases that you look at it and go, woohoo, this is going to fly through in no doubt time. And it was just painstaking, more than some of the self-employed ones we deal with. And like you said earlier, you just wish you'd have gone with your gut and stuck to it. But
we had that when Kelly first joined. And this case, you know, someone approached her, and it was on face value, it was brilliant. We're like talking in the millions, and I can't even remember the amount of hours that she spent, hours and hours and hours doing research, and in the end, it didn't happen. And the way she'd structured it was that the fee would have been paid on offer. You know, she's done the research. She's now an expert in that field, but she didn't get paid for it. And it just makes you think, right, next time, if I know that it's going to be high net worth, it's going to be non-dom, non-resident, non-this, non-that, I know it's going to take this many hours, that has to be paid up front. And it's non-refundable. And, you know, it's for me to assess your case and research what you can and can't do. Because our time is precious, especially now. It's crazy out there. I mean, lenders are saying that there's 4 times more applications coming in at the moment than pre-COVID. It's crazy. Yeah.
Good old stamp duty ruling's going to nicely throwing spanner in the works for us all. They
didn't really think it through, though, did they? They probably should have asked the banks and the lenders, if we do this, can you manage it? Because they probably would have worked out that offering this no stamp duty isn't really helping anyone if they can't get a mortgage or they can't complete by the end of March, which, although it's 6 months away, I've had cases that are still 6 months in and they still haven't got a mortgage offer. So
yeah, crazy carnage. So
fun times.
So
would you change it though? I wouldn't.
Would I change it? No, it's part and parcel.
I love it. I still love it.
Yeah,
I moan about it all day, but I love it.
Yeah, I think that's the nature of a mortgage broker, isn't it? You moan about it, but when you, like you said earlier, when you get the offer in, you're just kind of like, yes, another one over a lender.
I think it's a bit like, I don't know whether many of the women will agree, but the pain you go through childbirth, when you get the end product, it was kind of worth it until they grow up.
Until they grow up. So one of the things that we want to talk about, which we haven't spoken about, is obviously your business growth is due to lead generation. And one of the biggest things we've been working on is systems and processes and delegating and leverage and things like that. And leads is something that everybody moans about. And I know that you've been around for 16 years. But one of the key things you do religiously is BNI, isn't it? And I know there's a lot of people who wonder about, is BNI any good? So what's kind of your thought process around BNI, why it's important, how it's helped you, what it could do for others?
I think I've never networked, never liked networking. Didn't just that thought of going in a room being like, "Hi, I'm Katy," and hate public speaking, hate standing up in front of a room, which is probably hard to believe. People that actually know me, but
chats with Gary on social media.
Hate doing anything live that I can't edit or delete or filter or and another colleague, he swore by BNI. He kept talking about it. Is the, you know, I've got so much business from it. And I saw something that there was a BNI starting up in Staines and it hadn't launched. So I jumped straight in there and it still didn't launch while I was there. I actually got pregnant, had the babies, and it still hadn't launched. So I kind of still had my ear to the ground waiting for an opening, and there was one in Isha, which everyone there, it's a really, really good chapter. They all, you know, are where we were number one in Surrey pre-lockdown. And it's just building that network and getting to know people and investing in taking the time to build that relationship so they trust you, see how you work, and staying in people's minds, I think. And that's the one thing with BNI. Obviously, you meet every week. And yeah, I get some really good leads from it. There's an insurance broker in the room that we've got a really, really good relationship. He gives me a lot of business. And I definitely think if you can get into a local networking group, if you want to concentrate in your area, it's definitely important. I actually get most of my referrals from estate agents and existing clients.
How do you connect with estate agents? How do you connect with estate agents?
How have I connected with estate agents?
Have you had them for a while?
Yeah, so I don't know actually. The oldest estate agent, the estate agents I've worked with the longest, actually, he was a client who then naturally he used me and refers to me. They don't have an in-house advisor. And I don't really know. I've kind of fallen into it. I work with quite a few. I think it's just the way that I work, the way I stay in contact constantly. They know what's going on all the time. I pay good referral fees. And I'm good at what I do. And their clients are happy. Estate agents just want to sell property, keep the client happy, and know what's happening. And that's what I make sure that I do. And other agents I've reached out to on Instagram, local agents. Again, BNI, anyone that knows local agents that don't have a mortgage advisor, can you introduce me? I think it is networking and proving that you can do what you say you're going to do.
Yeah, nice.
And I'm not based in any estate agent.
Yeah. They basically chuck everybody through to your mobile, don't they?
They do. Actually, no, some of them book my diary. Some of them have access to my diary.
Yeah. So it just keeps it ticking over nicely.
Just keeps my phone ringing constantly, yeah. Which is why I need the kind of back office support that I need. Because if I answered my phone all day, I'd never get anything done.
Yeah.
And actually my most productive time of the day is after 6 o'clock, when I can just, the phone, there's nothing going on. I'm not checking my emails. I'm not answering the phone. I'm purely focused on getting stuff done.
Yeah, and if everybody's got their most productive time in the day, you're either a morning person, a night person, whatever it might well be. And I think that's important as well, is to know when you are most productive and actually work around those times. I'm massively a morning person. As soon as it gets to 7 o'clock, I turn into a pumpkin and I don't want to do much work. So I'd rather get up earlier and finish earlier.
Don't get me wrong. I don't like working at that time. That's the only time that I can just stop answering the phone, and people think that that's okay because I'm not working, when actually that's when I'm doing the most. I'm definitely more mentally productive in the morning. I take time out to plan my day. I time chunk, thanks to Emma Mills and you. I time chunk. I have a set, hour, 2 hours that I'll say, tell anyone that calls, tell them I'll call them back between this time. That's my time for getting back to people. And I think as long as you just don't ignore people for a couple of days, or, if they know that you're in a meeting or they know that you're with a client or on the phone, as long as you call them back within the time that you say, then people are fine with that. If you're busy, it means that you're good at what you do. Well, you'd like to think that,
Yeah.
And you told me not to answer my mobile anymore.
And why did I tell you that? Because everyone would be going, "What? Don't answer your mobile." Why did I say that?
I don't know. Why did you say it? No, because so I could get stuff done.
Yeah, it's one of the biggest distractions, and this job takes a lot of brain space and energy. And you think it's counterproductive not answering your phone. Your client really needs you there and then, and blah 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 blah. And we've all had that client who sends you an email, and then 3 minutes later rings you and go, "I've just called you. I wanted to make sure you got my email." Yes.
Not even 3 minutes.
Well, yeah.
Not even 3 minutes.
And it's like,
you see the email pop up and you ignore it because you're in the middle of something, and then the phone goes, and then your WhatsApp call goes, and then you get a text, and it's like,
yeah.
Hi.
And that's the important thing, is the reason why I say don't answer your mobile is it's not always like, I never answer my mobile live. I let everybody go to answer phone. It's just the way that I am, unless it's one of my mum or my dad or my wife, because my wife never phones me, so it's generally serious if she does. But like, it can go to voicemail and I can call them back on my terms, because if you're engrossed in research, in quoting, in speaking to lenders, in getting your head around a case, the worst thing you can do is end up answering your phone and being on the phone for 40 minutes to somebody who's a new lead and inquiry. And if I answer the phone, I know that I'm going to not be able to say, "Look, I'm really sorry, I'm in the middle of something. Can I call you back in like 30 minutes? I think that's worse than just letting it go to voicemail.
Yeah, as long as you remember to call them back. I mean, there has been days where I've listened to my voicemail, I've got 18 messages, and I think, well, how did I even miss all of these calls?
Yeah.
Also, now my mobile is diverted to my office, but clients or anyone ringing my mobile doesn't know it's diverted to my office. So it rings, they don't leave a message. I don't check the missed calls on my office phone. So then there's all these people that have called me and think, "Oh, she would have seen the missed call. Why did she call me back?" So now I've had to put a voicemail on my office phone that says, my mobile's been diverted to my office. Please leave a message so I know that you've called, because I'm not getting anything coming up on my mobile saying who it is. And the missed calls on my office phone, like that lot, I delete them every day. And I think it's just finding, at the moment I'm trialing and erroring, if that's trial and error, of what works, what's the best way to not drop the ball, make sure all the leads are recorded. And that's what Emma's focusing on now. She's doing anything new that's coming in, and my mum's dealing with everything existing. So remortgages, insurance renewals, and that's where I'm sort of trialing at the moment. I'm sure I'll fill you in next month how that's happening, how that's getting on.
Well, after this. So final kind of thought then for everybody is, obviously you have managed to grow, well, not just grow your brokerage, you've managed to probably triple your team since the beginning of this year. You've at times
my income, probably
tripled your income every single month. And what do you think, other than hard work, because I do think you are a machine, other than hard work, what have been some of the core components that have made that possible?
I think definitely having a clear plan of, we sat down and said, right, what's the target for this year? What was last year? That's the end goal. How are we going to get that? And we broke it down into monthly, weekly, daily, even hourly. You know, I do only work 3 days a week, but in that 3 days, I probably do 12 hours a day. And I've just working to a plan, really. I had to admit I couldn't do it all on my own. I had to admit that I wasn't giving the service that I wanted to give. I had to admit that I was doing things wrong. And I think once you kind of get over that you're not right all the time, and there are better ways to do things, and people are only trying to help when they give advice rather than taking it as a criticism, you then move forward. And I know what I need to do every week to hit what I want to at the end. So when it gets like today, it's the end of the month, and I know what business I've done in the month, but I know my figures don't show that. Today will be, right, what needs to get on? What have I done? Why haven't I recorded it? That can't happen next month. And it's building on mistakes to make sure they don't happen again, and just doing things when you do it rather than putting it off and then having a mad panic at the end of the month. But in regards to actually physically growing my business and my leads, it does just come down to hard work, really. Before, I used to stop at an amount. Once I'd earned that, I'd just take the rest of the month off in my head. And now I don't. I just carry on, and I don't want to work this hard forever. You know, the boys are 2. My daughter actually said, and this broke my heart the other day, I said to my daughter, if you could change one thing about me, what would it be? Thinking she'd say, oh, you're really annoying, or you do this. And she said, I wish you had more money. Okay, why? And she said, because then you wouldn't have to work so hard and you'd actually be home. And I think that put it into, no, don't get me wrong, she still spent my money the next day. But at that point, it just made me think, what am I actually doing this for? You know, she's nearly 17. And when I'm at home, she's not even in the same room as me. But it's just the fact that I'm at home. She'd rather me be at home than working to just, obviously she still doesn't fully understand that, you know, you need to make money, and to make money I need to go to work. But it did hit home that I don't want to be working this hard forever, because I'm never going to get this time back. So if it means that I need to earn less and for a period, and build my team and build the support to then get to the same end goal and have quality time with my family, and, you know, they remember me being at home and not being at work, then that's what I need to do. And that's why I'm now, you know, building the admin side of things, taking on, you know, I took on another broker, potentially taking on more before the end of the year. That's kind of my driving at the moment, that I want to be at home more. I don't want to work till 10, 11 o'clock at night every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Yeah. And how important do you think in achieving what you have done this year, and it's still an ongoing thing that we're obviously working on, how important do you think coaching and mentoring and accountability is in making the changes that you have done this year?
I couldn't have done it without that guy. What's his name? Gary something?
I don't know.
I couldn't have done it without guidance from you, Gary. I think it's definitely one of the best decisions I made, to come out of the mastermind, work one-to-one with you. You do hold me accountable. when I haven't done something, you want to know why. And it's brilliant to bounce ideas off and actually have a conversation with someone that's done it, and has made mistakes. I do think you have to make your own mistakes sometimes. But if someone's already done it, it saves you a bit of heartache. And, I am very grateful and very lucky that I have got really, really good people around me that do have faith in me. They do refer to me. They do see the value in me. And, I beat myself up a lot about it, but I do need to give myself some credit. It's on me and the hard work that I've done. And I think all of us, all brokers and anyone professional, need to really look at ourselves and value what we do. It's not an easy job at the moment by any stretch of the imagination. But yeah, you need someone to, I think everyone needs somebody to talk to about stuff that's done better than them, that's doing better than them, that gets it a little bit more than them, because otherwise, how are you going to grow?
Yeah, and I carry exactly the same mindset. That was the transition from me, from spending 10 years of building a business that I absolutely hated, that kept me stuck and going back to work 3 days after Emily was born, trapped in the office, anxious, stressed, worried, constantly thinking about money. The transition and the change was investing in myself in courses and learnings and trainings, but also having the coaches, mentors, and accountability. And generally, everyone I speak to who's had success or having success has some form of coach and accountability and a mentor. And you are a machine, and you will work all the hours that God sends, and you are absolutely awesome at what you do. But more often than not, when you're inside it all day long, you can't necessarily see everything that's going on. You need the bird's eye view from someone external as well. And I have exactly the same thing in my world as well.
I also think there's a very big difference between being self-employed and having a business. And that's my biggest, because I can't think of the word. And I think I said it to you. I've now got an employee who isn't family, who doesn't get me, who doesn't know me, who I'm now responsible for her and putting money in her pocket and her providing for her family. And I think that's where I need help. I'm shit hot at what I do. I'm good at being a mortgage broker. I'm good at getting leads. Am I a business owner? Am I going to be able to run a business? And that's where I need help. And I'll put my hands up. I haven't got the first clue about it. And it's remaining professional at all times when you've got people in the office that aren't your mum. You can't get off the phone and go, that client, so internally, like,
What you're telling everybody is there's an element of what I do for you that's a bit like counselling.
Definitely. I definitely mortgage broker, stroke counsellor, stroke family lawyer, stroke everything. I just I needed help. I was where I wanted to be, but not where I ultimately wanted to be, and I needed help to get there, and I still do. Hence why you're still my coach and mentor.
Well, thanks, mate. But yeah, you do the work, and that's that's all a coach and a mentor can ever ask, is that you working with you is a joy and a pleasure because you do the work, and we have our sessions every other week, and you just get shit done, to be putting it bluntly.
I think also how someone that's done it, that is reaping the benefits of it and has built their business. I mean, God, even since we've been speaking, your team's grown massively. So you're doing it whilst looking after me and whoever else is your mentees. And I just think it's an inspiration when you see what things could look like, and getting the assistance to do that, and someone having faith in you, and saying you can do this, you can get there, and all you need to do to get there is this, and this, and give me a few more hours in the day would be good. if you could do that as well.
We could all do that. If you work that one out, can you please? That would be a great product to sell.
I actually saw something. I saw a meme on Instagram that someone said, "You've only got a minute left. You've only got a minute to live," and the patient started doing a plank. And they were like, "What are you doing?" He said, "Well, if I've only got a minute to live, then when you're in plank, it seems like time just is so slow. I want to make it will seem like forever." So yeah, if you could give me something, maybe I'll just sit in the office planking all day, and my days might last a bit longer. But I can't believe how quickly time is going. And at the end of every day, I'm like, how is it 6 o'clock already? Well, not the end of my day, but
yeah. No, I know that feeling without a shadow of a doubt. And to give everybody context as well, as to kind of some final thoughts before we go to close on the podcast and stuff, is just that element of, you know, the pain that I felt and where you were at too, is we all come out of employment with what I call a job mentality. You know, you like you said, you don't know how to run a business. And I was extremely fortunate that my dad's been self-employed for 40, 50 years. And I had a mentor, but his issue was delegation. So very early on, my issue was delegation. And, you know, you don't know what you don't know. And it's only the point of you can have success, you can build it. But if you're doing it for the sacrifice of your family, like you said earlier with what your daughter said to you, that'll be something we'll be talking about after this today. It's just about changing, whether you're a 2-person team or a 12-person team, the mindset shift is required, because you've gone from technically an employee to a business owner, even with one member of staff. But then, like we sat down and worked on, we will set a vision. You know, your marketing's solid anyway. We didn't really need to do much in that arena because you generate an abundance of leads. We build the process to make you work on your superpowers, which is just dealing with clients, get rid of all the admin. We focus on sales, hence why you're bringing in someone to do the protection side of things. And then the end goal of working on having the right people, the right sales, and ultimately the business model that gives you more time with your kids. And that doesn't happen overnight.
That's ultimately what we're here for, isn't it? You know, we're here for a good time, not a long time. And I think lockdown definitely, rather than focusing on what you don't have, made you appreciate what you do, and makes me kind of want to get to where I want to be a lot quicker. Yeah,
definitely. And for anyone listening, the first step that I do with absolutely everybody, and I would advise you to do, is work out what your vision is. Work out what the end destination is, what the satellite navigation postcode that you want to get to, and then reverse engineer that. And it's still going to be a roller coaster to get there. There's going to be good days, bad days. There's still going to be things and problems that you face that might break. And there's still going to be mistakes that aren't going to work for your model. But if you can set the destination, the journey may change, but you'll get there in the end.
Definitely.
So, have you got any final thoughts for anybody kind of listening in terms of what not to do, or your biggest lessons, or anything at all along those kind of lines?
Don't think you can do it all on your own, because you can't. You said about your dad. My dad's been self-employed forever. He's got a business. My brother's self-employed. He's got a huge business. And I probably should have asked them for a bit of advice, but I didn't. So I always knew that I wanted to be my own boss, be self-employed, and never really wanted to have a business per se. That's kind of come with necessity now, that I can't do it on my own. So I need to employ people to help me. So naturally, I've now got a business, and I am where I am. Is there anything not to do? Don't think you can do it on your own, and don't be scared to ask for help.
Yeah,
it definitely doesn't make you look weak if you don't know everything. It doesn't make you a worse mortgage broker because you don't know cash flow. I mean, I haven't got a clue about cash flow. That's something we need to talk about after this.
Yeah, we'll be working on that. Don't you worry.
And
That's
I
one
can't
of the
believe
key
we've been
things.
talking for an hour.
It goes quick, doesn't it?
Yes.
Awesome. So
Indeed.
final little point then for everybody who's listening. Thank you to everybody who's been listening live on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube. We've got over
Oh my
100.
God, I've just realised there's loads of comments.
We thought we would put this out in a few communities and into some of social media. You know, the Financial Pro podcast has been running now since March of 2019. There's over 125 episodes, all focused around building a successful financial services business, marketing, sales, recruitment, structures, business models, interviews with legends like Katy, as well as other financial services professionals and sales experts, business experts. So you can go and listen to all of those on any of your favorite podcast channel. Just search Financial Pro Podcast and you can come and do that. If obviously, Katy, if people wanted to connect with you, have you got any preferred?
Connect away. I
Don't give out your
actually
email
know.
or your WhatsApp because that you get enough of them already.
I don't actually know what all my social media handles are. Katy Eatenten, I'm the only one. So Katy with a Y, name's down there on LinkedIn, and Facebook is the same, and Instagram's mortgagebroker_mummy.
Awesome. And my final thought, as you might know, is already coming. This is the Financial Pro podcast. Pro because perseverance leads to results, which creates opportunity. What does pro mean to you?
You could have told me you were going to ask me that.
Shows you don't listen to the podcast.
Told you that at the beginning. What does pro mean to me? Concentrating on what you're good at and giving the best you can with the best client outcome.
Love it. Short, sweet. I thank you very much indeed for your time. Let's get off this one and get into our coaching session.
Thank you. Goodbye,
Thanks,
everyone.
See you soon. If I can find my mouse and end it.
Awkward.